Gay black Senator Shevrin Jones tells lawmakers, no book made me gay. Don't say gay bill. Don't say gay bill. Sorry. Watch this.
But I do want to address just one thing that one of the speakers that she made mention of, and Senator Polsky touched on it, and it was pertaining to calling out homophobia. As a gay man, to sit here in committee to hear that there was no book that I read that brought me to who I am. And even your children, I don't care what you may try to do to think that you are protecting them, that the one thing that you are obligated to do is do like my mother and my father did, and that is to love them for who they are. So I'm not going to speak about the politics of this because all of that is going to go out the window eventually. My ask is that as you all speak, just realize that there are individuals who hear you and might be in the shoe of someone that your words are hurtful towards. And it's not me, because I'll be fine. I'm a grown man and I can take care of myself, and my colleagues love me as such. But I want to just put it out there to you all that as you go and you advocate, please do advocate for your children. I support that. But be careful in how you advocate to make sure you're not harming anyone. My dad always taught my brothers and I that when you lead and even when you speak, lead and speak with love. Thank you. Thank you.
Queer News Tonight has already been reporting on the Florida House bill that would stop teachers from being able to discuss anything LGBTQ+. Florida State Senator Shevrin Jones said during Tuesday's Educational Committee hearing, quote, as a gay man, to sit here in committee, to hear that, there was no book that I read that brought me to who I am. And even your children, I don't care what you may try to do to think that you are protecting them. The one thing that you are obligated to do, like my father and mother did, is to love them for who they are, end quote. Jones' remarks came in response to the claims of several parents at the hearing, like Karen Moran, who was with a group called Best SOS America. On Tuesday, Moran read from a book titled It Feels Good to Be Yourself, a book about gender identity, which she claimed there are 112 copies of at the Palm Beach County libraries. According to Newsweek, their search found 0 copies in the library system. Moran told the committee, quote, it's causing gender confusion with our kids, and it should not be in our libraries, and we should not be funding this, and we should get all these books out, end quote. Chasten Buttigieg also has something to say about it. Watch this.
A Republican-led committee in the Florida State House just advanced a bill that would ban most discussions of sexuality and gender identity in schools, arguing that it preserves parental rights. Now, critics call it the Don't Say Gay bill, and our next guest says it will kill kids. Joining us now is author and educator Chasten Buttigieg. He is married to Pete Buttigieg, the Biden administration's Secretary of Transportation. I really appreciate you being with us this morning. You say this bill will kill kids. How?
Yeah. I mean, that's a staggering number. So the tweet I put out mentioned a survey by the Trevor Project in which 42% of LGBTQ kids who were safe or comfortable enough to take the survey, said that they've seriously considered taking their own life. And we should be approaching that number with urgency and with compassion and care, wondering what we're doing, what kind of country we're building, or in Florida, what kind of state are you building, where you're essentially pushing kids back into the closet. You're saying we can't talk about you. We can't even talk about your families. And, you know, as a kid who grew up for 18 years being told you don't belong, something about you is wrong, sometimes you take that trauma to heart. And unfortunately, there are a lot of kids in this country who do the worst because we tell them something about you is twisted and you don't belong here. Sometimes teachers, especially for me, were my safe place. Teachers want to be that place where kids feel comfortable learning, and we should be making sure that school is a place where kids feel safe to learn. And I certainly appreciated having teachers that made me feel that way when I was younger. I don't really think this is about parents' rights. Parents' rights to do what? To tell LGBTQ kids that they don't belong, to push LGBTQ families away and into the closet.
Florida, I love you, but you are embarrassing me. Seriously.
Well, compassion is not a Republican value. I mean, let's just be honest, it's not. But the Republicans do know what they're doing. They know that hearing about it, talking about it is what brought us to this point through the 90s when we started having television shows and seeing ourselves reflected on television. And now they're like, oh, just keep the kids in the closet as long as we possibly can so that they either won't be themselves or they'll just kill themselves. The people who are pushing this are loathsome.
And Safe Schools South Florida, this is what we do.
This is what you do, yeah,
we work with teachers, we work with GSAs, students and gay straight alliances. This would absolutely decimate everything that's being done in a classroom. We're planning right now, speaking of Shevrin Jones, Senator Jones, earlier today we're talking with his staff and with United Teachers of Dade and the Broward Teachers Union. Safe Schools South Florida is going to host a rally/protest about this bill early next week. Anything that we can do to call attention to this, it is in every school, every grade level, in every classroom and teacher's lounge across the state of Florida. It's horrid.
You know, Scott, we were talking about this yesterday on Queer News Tonight, on It's Happening Out. Sorry, me and John were on It's Happening Out yesterday. And it's great that you're on today, Scott, because I was wondering about after-school programs. Like, would those things be affected as well? Would those be eliminated completely with this?
Absolutely. You would no longer be allowed to have a gay straight alliance, a GSA. And if they did come up with a creative title for it, they'd no longer be able to talk about anything in the LGBTQ universe. I run into principals at individual schools who try to throw this edict down within their school, but our school districts protect them, protects the students at those schools. This would change that. There will be no more protection for schools or faculty members.
This is heartbreaking. Ty, what were you going to say?
Oh, well, I was just going to say, I think the more pressing matter here is that she doesn't know the difference between 0 and 112. So I think we need to address that issue first before we start worrying about keeping our kids safe.
And her name was Karen.
Karen Moran, by the way.
You know, this breaks my heart 100% because I think of me as a child, all right? I was conflicted and I didn't know where to go. And my parents, I couldn't talk to them, you know? I hardly talk to them now, let's put it that way, you know? So it was one of those things where I had that safe teacher, like Scott saying, you know, I had that teacher that I can go to. Of course, she was a theater teacher. But anyway, all the gays were there. But I had that safe teacher. And if I couldn't talk to her, I think I would have exploded, you know? And there were moments where I thought about taking my own life as a teenager. This is what you're doing to these children, you know? This is all the children in Florida, you know, that are LGBTQ. God, this is just awful how much they will be affected by this stupid ass bill.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ+